So by now, most of you are probably getting home from your 9 to 5 Monday morning shift. I just got wrapped up with mine. And before I start my 5 to 9, I just want to take a second and just talk to the camera. There's something about that guy's snow plowing job today. It just really solidified the fact that nothing's great anymore. Things are good. It was okay. Food was fresh. Service was okay. But nothing's great. No one wants to be great anymore. And I think part of it has to do with the fact that there's no pride in ownership. COVID wiped out small business owners. Anyone that owned anything, it's all done through large corporations or some middleman getting a piece of every transaction you make. And in a world when that happens, people lose interest. They become disconnected. Everyone's so fucking convoluted in their thoughts and their timelines and their feeds, and their algorithms are feeding them confirmation bias bullshit that they can't get out of their own fucking head. And the older you get, you only become more set in your ways. And that is never a good thing. You know, one thing that's become my Roman Empire is how much this society has demonized change. Whether it's personal, professional, if you're a politician and you change your opinion or you vote differently on a subject, they demonize you as a flip-flopper, which is a wild term to call it. That's so childish. Personal life, your friends will tell you, you've changed. And you're always doing better and you're making progresses. You're outgrowing people who are stagnant. Your comfort zone, listen to me, your comfort zone, it will kill you. I promise you. And as a 38-year-old man who has experienced profound and significant changes in both my personal and professional life, good or bad, whether it was a sudden loss of my parents or me packing up everything I owned into my vehicle, anything that would fit, and just driving out west with no set destination. The idea originally was California. The day I left, the wildfires broke out, a change that I couldn't anticipate it. And I couldn't anticipate that the cell phone service between Iowa and Nebraska and that stretch of interstate caused me to get onto an interstate that was heading south, and I would have had to go 40 miles to reroute. So I ended up staying in Denver for the night. And that abrupt, sudden, insignificant change was probably one of the best things that's ever happened. Being fearful in a society of change, and when majority people share that same sentiment, the side effect is complacency. And man, do we live in a complacent society. And complacency breeds misery. And boy, does misery love company. So do me a favor. Stop letting complete strangers use social media to project the miserable existence they consider a life, and allow those opinions, comments, or whatever it is they're putting out in the world, let that influence you at all. Please don't let it happen. As a 38-year-old man, I find myself in a very unique position of power. Young kids look up to me, and old people respect what I have to say. There's no longer sitting at the kids' table at Thanksgiving. I'm now part of the discussion. But I'm so far part of the discussion now, I've removed myself from their table. Because at the end of the day, blood makes you related. But it's how someone makes you feel that makes them family. And when that awakening came to me, I realized I stopped harnessing relationships with people who made me feel far from family. And you know you're a good person when you feel guilty about doing the right thing. So to put a bow tie on my TED Talk, the whole point of saying all that is that nothing's great anymore. Whether it's the fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of change, or people valuing other people's opinions too much to the point where it's hindering their ability to want to do or be something great. And I find myself not being able to connect in social settings amongst people who are using it as a means to escape from their life, their job, their work. They call it happy hour. You only got 1 hour to be happy? I'm happy all the time, because guess what? If I'm doing something, it's because I want to be doing it. And a lot of that comes from the fact that I've had a lot of things taken from me in my life. Money, possessions, things, materialistic shit. But the one thing no one can ever take from me is my time and how I choose to spend it. So to give up and sacrifice your time for anything that you don't want to be doing is blasphemy. Because at the end of the day, they can always print more money, but you can never buy more time. When I was a kid, my parents ingrained in me that it's impolite to talk about money, politics, or religion, which coincidentally happen to be the 3 biggest things that are killing us as a society. Isn't that coincidental? So I think it's time we start having discussions of these things in order to progress as a society. We've made more progression technologically in the last 50 years than 500 combined. Yet I'm watching C-SPAN and there's a politician interviewing a licensed and board certified doctor as to whether or not a man can get pregnant. What are we doing, people? I don't know, but it sounds like complacency to me. So stop letting opinions of your parents, people around you, and start putting your ideas out in the world, and realize Democrat, Republican, whatever you identify as, we all want the same shit. Roof over our head, food in the fridge, and healthy fucking kids. You know, the funny thing about life is if it hadn't been that snowplow guy blocking my car in, I may have never started this little rant video. But because of him, I did. And at the start of this video, I said, I just got done with my 9 to 5. Now I'm starting my 5 to 9. 5 to 9 is a means to a beginning, and your 9 to 5 should be your means to an end. Meaning the time you spend outside of work or whatever obligation you have to provide the financial means to just live. Whether you're living above your means or below your means, the 40 hours you put in each week should be able to cover your expenses. And if that means downsizing or stop buying shit, whatever you need to do, if you hate what you're doing, those 40 hours need to be able to cover it so the time spent outside of work can build you up so that 9 to 5 becomes something you want to be doing. And in order to do that, you have to come to the realization that you can't be complacent. And complacency is something I suffer from, you suffer from, and I know millions of other people who don't want to talk about it publicly are suffering from. Whether it's financially, mentally, or in some form, we are all suffering from being complacent about the people in which we put into positions of power. And I don't just mean the president, I don't just mean it. It starts with your local government. When I tell people that I plan on running against anyone that's going unopposed in the local Erie election, they laugh. And I say to them, really? Well, look at the job requirements and tell me why I'm not qualified. Because they're killing people in the streets over those same qualifications.